The UK and France have agreed to go further and faster on tackling illegal immigration, following a meeting yesterday between the French Interior Minister and our Home Secretary.
Mr Cleverly will also be grilled by MPs later today at the Home Affairs Select Committee, as a new study predicts net migration could see the country's population reach 70 million by 2026, which is in 2 years' time.
In the studio with us now, political sketch writer Quentin Letts. Quentin, good morning.
Good morning. My voice is terrible, just to warn you.
What
have you been up to?
I've had a chest infection, my dear. But, it's all gone wrong anyway. So
if I get a pharmacist and get a prescription.
Exactly. I'm sounding a bit like lamb chops, but anyway.
How do you feel about this new Pharmacy First initiative?
I think it sounds a jolly good idea. I don't know why we haven't done it before.
Well, that's the question Nick asked earlier.
I've lived in the States at times, and in the States you can get much more from a chemist than you can here. And we all know it's quite difficult getting a GP appointment, so why not go and see the pharmacist instead?
We also know that Rishi Sunak is the son of pharmacists, as he reminded us again yesterday. We've been enjoying reading your sketch in the Daily Mail today. It was always funny, isn't it, when the Prime Minister goes on a show like this morning, he's got a kind of a different pitch. How do you think he came across?
I thought he did remarkably well, but daytime telly is a terribly difficult thing for politicians to do. Tony Blair was very good at it. Cameron was quite good at it. Theresa May was terrible at it.
Yes.
And Sunak has the teeth for it.
Yeah. But he showed his teeth in that opening shot, and he just looked like a man terrified, caught in the headlights, didn't he? That sort of...
I thought he threw himself into...
No, he warmed up.
But he managed to get through his message, the message while still absorbing the slightly unreal world of daytime telly.
You're in Ryland's universe when you're in this morning.
Ryland, he's an unusual fellow. But I've just done Rishi's diet.
Oh, right.
I've just done it for 36 hours.
Fast.
Just come off it. And how the Prime Minister does that, I tell you, it's a nightmare to do.
Well, he cheats. He says he has the odd nut and the odd pastry.
That's no way to talk about the Cabinet. Yes, he has the occasional nut, but I didn't. I did 36 hours with no solids except for a couple of pills because of my chest. And what it does to you, this fast, is it makes you regard the rest of the world with loathing.
Oh.
Because the rest of the world is eating.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say about the way Rishi views us?
Maybe you would get used to that if you did it every week.
Maybe you would, but also it takes you into a different universe. And again, I'm not sure this is a very good idea.
What does
having a Prime Minister in an
like?
alternate universe?
Well, you inhabit a land of purity, and everyone else is outside it. It does things to your mind. Not eating for 36 hours.
Should we talk about some of the challenges currently facing
go ahead,
the Prime Minister? So,
I put you off.
Migration. Here we go. The figures out, which suggests our population is going to be past 70 million a decade early.
Yeah.
What actually is? Do you think you can identify it? Conservative policy when it comes to how many people they want legally coming into the country?
They want legally to get in enough people to do the jobs, but they want to stop illegal immigration.
But it's a challenge even for them to work out how many people legally they want to be here. You know, some of the Conservatives are saying we should have a cap on the numbers because the numbers are too high.
They've been fiddling around with that.
They tried that, haven't they?
And Rishi Sunak promised one thing and then has sort of gone a bit soft on that. But, you know, it's 70 million sounds far too many to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is very amorphous, isn't it? It's like juggling jelly. You don't know what the right number of people to come into the country is. A lot of people would say, oh, Britain's full, we don't need any more migrants at all, we can run our own economy. But that doesn't actually make sense.
Well, everyone talks about, the businesses all say we need people to run the economies, but at the same time, the scientists are saying there's going to be AI, and that's going to, you know, put people out of work.
Does this come down to something
So we
really
may not
boring?
need as many people to work.
Well, does this come down to something boring like productivity? We simply do not create or generate enough in terms of the productivity per person to actually keep the economy functioning, which is why we have to throw bodies at it or import bodies to run it.
But will productivity be as important under AI? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that requires people who know how to design these machines, operate them, and then let them do the jobs that humans were doing, which we're not quite there yet, are we?
But anyway, 70 million is a heck of a lot of... 70 million?
Yeah.
Heck of a lot of people.
It is a lot of people. It's more than France.
To cram into basically the
south east,
because that's where they all go,
yeah.
And the Midlands. You know, not many go up to Scotland.
I'm sure the Home Secretary will be facing questions on that a little bit later.
He will, in half an hour's time, yeah.
What he'll want to be talking about was, well, his meeting that he had with his French counterpart yesterday.
At last, the French are going to use drones.
They are. Well, James Cleverly said that the French's commitment was exemplary and the results were impressive. Is it a bit generous to say that the track record on the Channel so far has been impressive?
No, I mean, the French have been useless. The Belgians have been much better. And the reluctance of the French to really do a good job has been political. And now, at last, they're going to monitor the beaches from the air. Why have they not been doing that before? We've been giving all this money over, and it just shows that Monsieur Macron is a slippery piece. And, you know, the French could have been doing much more.
I suppose the French haven't cared about it as much because they don't have to. And they're only caring now because we're paying them to.
The French are delighted that these people are crossing the channel, have come over to us. It gets them off their hands.
They become our problem, yeah.
That is the problem then, isn't it?
It is. And whatever honey Mr. Cleverly pours over his French counterpart, that will not change the basic political reality.
So therefore, what do?
They have to get the Rwanda thing up and running as a deterrent. And I think that's a very important step. But the House of Lords is being difficult.
Quentin, 4 years, anniversary of Brexit, Britain leaving the EU. Name me a benefit.
We run our own affairs. That's all you need
Are we
to
good
say.
enough at that? Things aren't going so well at the moment, are they?
That doesn't matter. It means we can run our own affairs. And we can now choose the people who run our lives. We can elect Keir Starmer, we can elect Boris Johnson, we can elect
could do that
whoever.
before.
No, but we couldn't properly because many of the rules, many of the laws were being imposed by the almost said United Nations, by the European Union. We now have our own sovereignty. So it doesn't matter, you know, if we get ourselves into the mud, it's our own fault now.
Yeah, but we essentially boxed ourselves into our own sovereignty, haven't we?
To a large extent, we are our own bosses now. And that's what it was all about. And that should not change unless Labour's mad.
I think a lot of people who voted for Brexit did vote for the idea, didn't they, that we would then be able to make our own decisions, as you've just laid out.
Yeah.
There's inevitably going to be a period of, I think it would be quite generous to say, turbulence. When do you think the people who voted for Brexit, who want to sort of herald the benefits, will be able to say with kind of real confidence,
We've reached
look,
the sunlit uplands.
Well, some of them will never get everything they wanted because they are being unrealistic. But at the same time, the British establishment is going to have to yield a bit eventually and accept that this is the new reality. Now, in the House of Lords at the moment, there's a great rump of Remainers who are very cross still. But eventually they're going to have to come to terms with the new reality, unless Keir Starmer takes us back into some form of EU. But I don't think he would. I think he would be crazy to do that because I think he'd get walloped electorally next time round.
I think give it a generation and the calls will start. I don't think it'll be Keir Starmer.
No, but I think the whole European Union is going to go down the Swanee anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
On what grounds?
Well, the economy. And our economy, for everything that everyone says about how bad our economy is doing better than the chief European economies. So, you know, that, despite Brexit, as they say, you know, we got out of that thing in good time, I think.
Do you think there's a bit of a problem, just really quickly, Quentin, that people's crossness about Brexit is actually proving to be a problem rather than just sort of saying, we are where we are, we accept it, we plan, we move on?
Well, it's a problem for the Tories at the moment because they haven't been seen to be radical enough.
Or make a success of it at all.
Well, they've made a success of some things. They certainly have.
Go on.
Well, the CPTPP is a pretty big step.
Okay.
And that's going to be extremely influential in the future. And the economy is going all right. I mean, our manufacturing is going pretty well, despite what the new French Prime Minister says. So, and I would not be... And the handling of the vaccine showed the nimbleness, the agility you can get by being outside the EU is well worth having if you've got the will to do it.
Yeah, and that point it was quite critical. Quentin, thank you so much.
Sorry about my voice.
No, thanks for battling through.
A pleasure as ever. Really appreciate your time.